So now I live in Reggio, and Reggio is the city. So I live in the province of Reggio Calabria, and Reggio Calabria is a city with about 400,000 people, and it has everything. It has everything that you need of a small city, smallish European city, and it pretty much from art, sport, music, and also it's strategically placed to reach Sicily and then the rest of the mainland. It's really well connected. Not many people think so, but it is well connected, although it's right down the south. Okay, and Ryanair has been great for the Calabrians in opening up a different tourist door of allowing many people to come and visit it. The screen here shows a couple of the places that are available when we go trekking. I do a lot of trekking in Italy, and especially in the south at the moment. Zervo, or the Sanitario, which is the one at the top. I don't know if you can see it. This one has a beautiful history, and it doesn't really look like that anymore because it has become quite abandoned. But the history of it was pre-war for people with malaria, and then it became a haven for addiction, people with addictions, that they were looked after by one of the priests who had it for many years, did some extraordinary work, and it's become a place where we can use as a dormitory or dorms where they're open to people traveling or camping as well. But it's a huge area right in the mountains, just above the village I live in as well. Biancospino is another what we could call Rifugio, the one on the bottom. That's only part of it, but this couple that own Biancospino, where I frequent quite a lot especially through the summer months, have made an amazingly welcoming area for people that travel, regardless of whether you're hiking, cycling, or just need a place. They're always open, and it's a godsend in the mountains as well, not far from where I live. These are two places I always send people when they are coming to the mountain area of Calabria. Santa Cristina del Spromonte is this village where I live when I'm not here, and this is part there of it. I've taken this photo from one of the very old fountains and washing troughs. I think it's a trough that was used many moons ago by the women who would wash their clothes in it. I didn't take a photo, but if you go to Google Maps, you'll actually find it in there. There's a photo there, and it's quite extraordinary. Santa Cristina has an amazingly beautiful history, and I find something different about it each time. So I've been there on and off for 11 years, but I'm continuously finding out different things about it. The waterfalls, I found out from the first time I arrived there, because they're a hop, skip and a jump from me. I can walk there every morning, and normally through the summer, that's my little to-go-to place. Okay, so the waterfalls is something that that you can get to really easily. You walk, is it okay? Cool. That you can walk to. We have the Old Paese as well. The Old Paese is a place that there was an earthquake in 1807, which tragically destroyed most of the south of Calabria, and our village was one of those, or the original village. And the history goes back almost to 500 before Christ, which I nearly fell over when I found out this, because I thought, no way. But it was quite extraordinary, because there's actually artifacts that go back, that they found going back to there. And it was a village of about 1,800. 200 of those people only survived that earthquake, sadly. And then they moved it to where we are now. Rebuilt, they didn't move it, sorry, they rebuilt it. But it has an extraordinary history. You can still get to some of it really easily, and you can see what's left or what was left of it. I put there's a guide needed to arrive there for 2 reasons, and that is, one, it's on private property now, and the other is without a guide, it just looks like ruins. And my guide is a doctor that lives in the area or in the village and has an amazingly great array of knowledge about the history. While he's not working and looking after patients, he is looking after our history, so to speak. One of the other things around Santa Cristina, which I love, is the olive groves. So as you know, you're entering our area because we have the very rare giant, what we call the Gianti olive trees. And they are the ones that we do not prune. They're not pruned. So when you are in Tuscany, when you are in different parts of even Calabria, or even up north, northern parts, every part where they have olive groves, Umbria, Sicily, their olive trees will be a lot shorter. They are what I call manicured, okay? They're kept really well pruned. Ours are giants. We don't prune them. And the olive falls from the tree. So we have nets underneath, like most of them do now. And we let them fall when they are ripe. So it has a very different taste. So I'm sure most of you know what the olive oil is from Italy. And most of them that you will buy is the extra virgin olive oil and things like that. And the extra virgin olive oil, the difference is, apart from the grade, okay, which I won't go into, but it's not ripe. It is an unripe fruit, which they collect by hand or by machines. We still, probably 80% around the village will let them fall, and then we go and collect them by hand, and then we take them to the mill, and it's made into olive oil. You will feel the taste in the back of your throat. Okay, so the virgin olive oil has that very stringent feeling in the back of your throat, whereas the one that we use is very smooth. Neither is better or worse. I'm not going to go into it because I think it's like wine. It's just like wine. You have the things that you like, whether it's more delicate or something a little more with a little more body or whatever. Okay. Let me continue. I'll move on to Reggio, where I am now. Okay, so if you have any questions about the area of Aspromonte or Santa Cristina, I'm happy to answer them, or at the end as well. I now find myself, in Reggio, and Reggio Calabria is about 75 kilometers from where I live. So I rent here where I am now, because going back and forth logistically is just not worth it. What I spend in travel, I spend in rent, because it's so affordable. Okay. And I get the best of both worlds. I get the sea and I get the mountains. So Reggio Calabria is next to the sea, and it has an amazing amount of things to offer. So apart from the history, the Castello, the bronzes, and the bronzes, can you see the bronzes, or are our faces in the middle?
No, yeah, I can see.
You can see the bronzes. The bronzes were what were found. Now I don't know if I'm lying or telling stories, but what I remember is it was a few of about 400. There were 400 bronzes, and only a few were found and saved. They are from Greek origin, and they were found on the other side of Calabria, on the Ionian, okay, part of Calabria. But we have them here in the museum. They're just extraordinary to see if you look at the date that they were made. They're really beautiful, quite beautiful. Then you have the lungomare. The lungomare is the 1 kilometer long lungomare that you can just walk along. You obviously can swim nearly all year through, depending on what you're used to and where you are in Europe or the world. Okay. It's also renowned for the bergamot fruit. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the bergamot fruit, but bergamot is one of the the ingredients for a lot of perfumes, but also for a lot of the foods that we have here in Reggio. Not all of Calabria, but mainly Reggio. And that's because of the climate, and also because it's sold in Spain as well, if I remember correctly. And then it has many other museums as well. The Cultural Museum, the Bergamot Museum, and other things as well. Food. One of the things I do love about Italy is the food, and I think most people could probably relate to this. Grown up by two wonderful people who loved the land. Even in Australia, we grew up with fresh produce and grew our animals, in which we didn't name for the obvious reason that it ended up on our dinner table. But with 5 children, my parents were really self-sustainable, and that was something that they brought back from here. So they took it to Australia. But Santa Cristina, pardon me, has 2 wonderful places. It's tiny. I want you to think of the tiniest village that most people cook in. So having a trattoria and a Michelin restaurant is quite amazing. It was amazing to me when I found this out, that it was a Michelin restaurant. And Quafix is it's really quite an experience. Okay, you get to experience the local produce with a twist of whatever the chef puts into it. I can't remember the chef's name. I know I should have done my homework, but I don't remember his name. But he's outstanding. He's quite outstanding. They use a lot of their own produce in this restaurant. They grow and make and produce and sell their own olive oils that they have. Whereas a paesana, which is like my friend, is the trattoria, which is owned by 2 local people. One in which one of the owners, the woman, Alvera, is what I call a mountaineer. She just knows the mountains like the back of her hand. Most of her food comes from the mountains. So whatever you're served will more than likely be from something she's collected that day or a couple of days before. Things like mushrooms, asparagus, and other wild plants that I don't even know, that I wouldn't even be comfortable with collecting, but they're quite amazing. What can I tell you? Some of the things that I love about living here in Europe is the photos, I think, say it all, is the people. One of the photos is a lot of the actual people just welcoming someone I had hosted, and she became loved by everybody. So I think she was meant to stay 1 or 2 nights. She stayed 16 days and was just adopted by everyone. It was just extraordinary, and it was a humble experience for me, because it was the beginning of when I bought my house, and I didn't want to keep it closed when I was away, and it made me realize that I would keep it open for people who were traveling by bike or walking. And I always thought, oh, will they be safe? Will they feel safe? And that one experience just made me realize that everyone that has used my house up until now has been welcomed, and fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, most of them come for a night or two to stay, whether it be to wash their clothes or just to have a warm place to, or just a place to shower, are welcomed and don't normally leave, end up staying more than what they ever thought they would. So it's become a really beautiful haven, an abode for many people, and welcoming to everyone. The typical things of seeing people, you know, having their dinner or their lunches outside, that is our typical summers. Our summers are always full and a lot of food, a lot of food.